Here is a walkthrough on how to use the Hero 2. The menu system is very similar to the GoPro original. You have the same front button and top button. Front button is going to be used to turn the GoPro on and off. You do that by momentarily pressing the front, and then if you want to shut it off, hold it for 2 seconds or 3 if you want to be sure. And the top is going to be used to either start taking a picture, recording, whatever mode you have it in, or selecting a menu or selecting a setting. So let's go into the GoPro. And right now it's set to default. On the LCD, you'll have the camcorder icon telling you that it's in video mode. W stands for wide, the 170-degree field of vision setting. 960 is 960 frames, and then 30 is 30 frames per second for that resolution. The number is going to indicate the 02, how many video files I have. If I go to photos, it'll tell me how many photo files, and this will be separate from the video files number. The number down here, 1 hour 24 minutes approximate battery life, and then you have the older style battery indicator right there. So what I want to do is get this set up for me, and I prefer doing the 1080 30 frame. I want to see how wide the 1080 is and ensure that it's still tall, as tall as the older 960, or at least good enough. So let's go into the other modes. You change the mode by pushing the front button. So I'm going to press the front button momentarily, and right now it's in photo mode. Press it again, now it's in burst mode, that 10 photos in 1 second mode, and press it again, and now it's time lapse. Right now the default setting is 2 seconds and of course 11 megapixels. Push it again and you're in the self timer mode. I believe right now it's set to 10 seconds. So you position your GoPro where you want to take the picture, just like you would a point and shoot. Take the picture and hurry up and run into the spot. 10 seconds later, it's going to take a picture at the 11 megapixel setting. Change the mode again, and this is the setting icon. You can either go to the setting by selecting it with the top one, or moving on if you wanted to go to film mode, and that just continues the cycle on from there. So let's go into the settings, cycle through, and I'm going to select it with the top. This is the default mode at power up setting, and inside here you have the option when the GoPro turns on to go to, with the camcorder icon, film mode, photo mode underneath that, and burst mode, 10 photos in 1 second, or time lapse. When you have one button set up, and it doesn't matter if you have photo, burst, or time lapse set, but when you have one button set up, it'll automatically go to time lapse, and whatever setting you have for time lapse, it's going to use right when it powers up. So just be aware if you are using one button on recording. On the film mode is what I want, so I'm going to choose that and go on to the next setting. Right now, this is the video setting, 960 resolution by 30 frames. And I want to change that, so I'm going to select that. Here at the resolution setting, it's at its current default, 960 and 30 frames a second. And I'm going to choose that by changing the mode in the front, 960 by 48 frames, 1080 by 30 frames, and I'll cycle through to show the other modes. WVGA 60 frames, or WVGA 120 frames, which is new with the Hero 2. So this is 720 30 frames, 720 60 frames, and the default again 960 by 30. And I want to select 1080 30 frames, so I'll select it with the top button, and brings me back to the menu. Moving on from this menu, this is the field of vision setting, and I'm going to select that. And wide stands for the 170 degree field of vision, medium 127 degree field of vision, Narrow is the 90-degree field of vision, and I want to select the wide. So I'm going to choose that with the top. Brings you back to the menu. Change the mode with the front. Here you have the photo setting. Let's go in there. And 11 megapixels wide, 8 megapixels medium, 5 megapixels wide, and 5 megapixels medium. Press it again and it just cycles through. So I'll stick with the default 11 megapixels wide. Brings you back to the menu. Change the mode. This is time lapse, and you have 2, 5, 10, 30, and 60. And I actually want to choose 0.5 seconds, which is new to the Hero2. Brings you back to the menu, change the menu, the front. You have up is default, and you can choose upside down. Upside down is what you would use, so go ahead and select that. If you knew you were going to mount the GoPro in an upside down position, and instead of flipping the video after you've already recorded it, you can, and if it's hard for you to do that, you'll want to change this right here. So I'm going to leave it on the up position. Back at the menu, change the mode. So with spot metering, it is useful when you're trying to film from inside of a car and you're trying to film outside of the windshield. What I noticed in the past was with spot metering on, it would pick the absolute center of the focus and make them the white balance. In other words, if the center was the darkest, it would kind of lighten up the white balance for the whole entire video, and it might be washed out for everything else that's bright, but it will make the center a little bit more visible. And vice versa, if the center was really bright, it would darken everything around it in order to compensate. So for the most part, I recommend it being off unless you're doing something like filming inside of a car and you're trying to get outside the windshield. So I'm going to select off and back at the menu, change the mode. And this is one of my favorite settings. It's really preference. Some people hate it, some people like it. Going into it, what it does, it turns on one button mode, which I want on. I'm going to go ahead and select that. What that does is as soon as you turn your GoPro on, it will immediately start recording, start doing the photo, time-lapse, bursts, etc. Whatever mode you have it on when you first power on your device, and I like mine on. It's a little bit easier. All I do is turn it on, hold it momentarily, it turns on, it starts recording, and then hold it for 3 to 4 seconds to ensure that it's off and I know I already stopped recording, and I could start recording the next time I want to use it. Saves a little bit on battery life, and so a one-step process instead of a two, where you turn it on, then hit the other button to take the picture, start the recording, etc. Next one is more. After you hit this setting, it's going to go to exit, and it'll just continue cycling through that. So if you want to check out what's inside more, and here you can delete, and I'll choose delete. You can either delete the last file that was taken, or you can choose all of them. And all of them is similar to formatting because you're deleting everything. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel for now. Instead of trash, you have a NTSC or PAL setting, and this is for the output. And since I'm in the US, I'm going to be sticking with NTSC. So with OSD, you would select this if you'd like to display or hide the recording icons and information on your video screen when displaying live video and on a TV screen or using the LCD backpack. Off will hide the icons and on will display the icons as read directly from the manual. So most of the time you probably want to have it off when you're looking at the LCD or streaming onto a TV. It will just show the information, but it won't show it on the actual file. So you might want it, you might not. The next setting is the LED setting, and this is in reference to the front, the back, the top, and the bottom. If you want it to just show two of them, that is in reference to just the back and the front. It doesn't show the top or the bottom. Or you can turn them completely off. For me, I want to do all four so I can ensure no matter what angle I have it at, I can see that it is recording. And this is the beeping sound. Right now it's set to 100%, which I don't mind. You can set it to 70% or have it completely off. Now I'm going to change it back to 100. Change the menu setting. This is the auto power off setting, and by default it's set to never. Going inside there, you can set it to 60 seconds, 2 minutes or 120 seconds, 5 minutes or 300 seconds. And with auto power off, it's gonna automatically shut your GoPro off if you're not taking video or photos and you haven't pressed any buttons as well. If you have it set to never, then you will need to manually turn your GoPro off. I usually have this on in case for some reason my GoPro's off and I forget. At least have a backup. It'll save some power when I accidentally leave it on. And I'm going to select 5 minutes or 300 seconds. Go to the next menu. This is the date menu, and I'm going to select it because when you first get your GoPro, the default's obviously going to be wrong. So once you go into the menu, you have the month, date, year, hour, and minute. And what's highlighted is the month. So the first thing you want to do is select the month. And right now it's November. And select that. And then go to the next, which is the date. Select that. And today is the 5th. You gotta cycle all the way through it. I tried holding it down to see if it cycles through it faster, and it just turned it off. So just heads up, just cycle through it, and it's still 2011. Right now the time is 1:47, so I'm gonna select that. So keep going until you hit 1, which right now it's set to military time, so I'm gonna go with 13. Select that, go to minutes, and right now 47. And once you're done with the last entry, just go ahead and hit the change mode button, and of course we're at the end of the more menu, so I'm gonna go ahead and select exit. And here we are at the one button recording mode since we're outside of the menu. By the way, to turn it off, 1, 2, 3, just to make sure. To change the settings when you have it on one button mode, what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn on, press the front button momentarily. It's gonna start recording, and you're gonna hold the top button for about 3 seconds. And it's gonna bring up the setting option. You can either go into there by selecting with the top button or changing out of it with the front button, and it'll go right back into one button mode. So I actually do want to go on settings, so I'm going to hold the top button and I'm going to select the settings menu, and you go from there.